Hello dear students, today we are going to study one very important topic, IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compound. This topic is important with respect to your boards as well as with respect to your JEE exam. One question is sure on this topic, IUPAC nomenclature. So let us begin. Now whenever we are naming common salts, for example NaCl, what we are doing first, we are always naming the positive part first. So positive part is labeled first and therefore we write sodium first followed by chloride. So what's the first rule that we have to remember? Always positive part is labeled first. Whether it is a counter ion or whether it is a complex one. I will give you one more rule. Another easy rule, that always we move from left to right. So these two are tricks to remember how we start our nomenclature. For example, K4FeCN6. In this, we'll move from left to right and therefore potassium will be labeled first or it will be named first. Okay, and then complex ion will be named. One more example, CONH3 whole 6 Cl3. Now when we are moving here left to right, complex ion is positive and therefore it will be labeled first. So complex ion will be labeled first and then chloride. Okay, so I hope both these things are clear to you. Now when we are labeling the counter ion, you can see I have written only the name irrespective of the number. Whatever number is there, we do not mention the number of counter ion, that will mention in the ligands. Okay, so when these things are clear, we'll move to the naming of complex ion. There are plenty of rules that you have to keep in mind, but I will say it's a easy topic. Okay, so how do we name complex ion? Simply remember one formula: number of ligand, then we'll write the name of ligand, then we'll write central metal atom, and then we'll mention its oxidation state. Okay, name of ligand, it should be arranged alphabetically. If you remember this formula, you'll be able to write the name of any complex ion. Now come to this point. The name of ligand should be arranged alphabetically, irrespective of the charge, irrespective of the number of the ligands. All things, irrespective of all these, you have to arrange all the ligands alphabetically. The number of ligands, what we are using for number of ligands, we use it like di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa and so on. Okay, but there is one exception in this case. What is the exception? If the ligand already has number in it, for example ethane 1,2-diamine. Now this has already number in it, so in that case we don't use di, tri, tetra, etc. In that case we use bis, tris, bis for 2, tris for 3, tetra case, so on. Okay, so I'll just summarize the thing. Number of ligands will use prefix like di, tri, tetra, but there is exception for the ligands which have number in them. If the name of ligand itself have a number, then we'll use bis, tris, tetracates, etc. Then we write the name of the ligand, we arrange them alphabetically, then we write the name of central metal atom, and then we write oxidation state in Roman numbers. So you have to learn this formula. Okay, but now we have seen there are plenty of ligands and therefore the naming will be in a different pattern. Let us study how do we name ligands. We know the ligands are of three types: negatively charged, positively charged, and neutral. So first of all, we'll discuss how we name negatively charged ligands. As negatively charged ligands are plenty in number, you have to learn these examples. Okay. Now, what common thing you have seen in these examples? Every name is ending with O. So that means all negatively charged ligands, they ends with O. Or I will say, if the ligand's name ends with IDE, ITE, ATE, then the ending E will be replaced by O. Like fluoride becomes fluorido, chloride becomes chlorido, carbonate becomes carbonato, sulfate becomes sulfato, and so on. So what you have to remember for negatively charged ligands? It will end with O. Now here I have marked with a star. These ligands are the special ligands as they are ambident ligands. And when we are naming the ambident ligands, we have to specify the linkage by which the ligand is getting bonded with central metal atom. For example, NO2 minus, then we will label it as nitrito N, indicating the coordinate bond is through nitrogen atom. If it is ONO minus, then we will write nitrito O, indicating the coordinate bond is through O. Nitro is also allowed in this case. Like cyanide, we'll name it as a cyanido or cyano. If it is NC, we will label it as isocyanado. Similarly, thiocyanato, isothiocyanato. So you have to be careful in naming ambidentate ligands. You have to consider the atom with which it is coordinately bonded with central metal atom. Now, in case of positively charged ligands, we have to add IUM as a suffix. Nitrosonium, nitronium, hydrazinium, etc. Neutral ligands, they are named as it is. Methylamine, ethane 1,2-diamine. As soon as I say ethane 1,2-diamine, it should be clicked in your mind that when we are naming ethane 1,2-diamine, we will use the prefix like bis, tris, tetrakis, etc. Now, you have to learn these also. Now, these two I have marked as a special one. Why? Because H2O is named as aqua and NH3, see the spelling, it is named as AMMINE, amine. Generally, the spelling of amine is a single M, but when it is as ligand, we'll use double M. Okay, so this is the naming of the ligands. So what we have seen in the naming of the ligands, first of all, we'll use the number like di, tri, tetra, etc. Or if the ligand has a name in itself, then we'll use it like bis, tris, etc. Then secondly, we have to arrange it alphabetically, irrespective of the charge, irrespective of the number. And thirdly, we have to be careful if it is a negatively charged ligand, if it is a positively charged ligand, or if it is a neutral ligand. If it is a negatively charged ligand, then we'll end it with O. If it is a positively charged ligand, we'll end it with IUM. And if it is a neutral ligand, then the name remains as it is, same. Okay, now once the concept of naming ligands is over, we'll move to naming of the central metal atom. Naming of the central metal atom depends on to which ligand the central metal atom is joined. If the ligand is coordinately bonded with negatively charged ligand, then central metal atom, its name changes to ATE. We will end the word with ATE. For example, aluminate, chromate, cobaltate, etc. So you can see the name ends with ATE, but when when it is coordinately bonded with negatively charged ligand. Okay, now these are the special cases because in these metal we are taking Latin name instead of their normal name. Ferrate, cuprate, argentate, aurate, stannate, etc. So central metal atom, its naming depends on whether it is attached to negatively charged ligand or if it is coordinately bonded to positively or neutral ligand. In case the central metal atom is coordinately bonded to positively or neutral ligand, then the name of the metal remains as it is. Okay. After naming the central metal atom, we have to calculate the oxidation state. Oxidation state of central metal atom, and that must be written in Roman number. So keeping all these rules in mind, we'll solve certain examples. So I will start with the simplest one. This is our first example. What's the first rule? We move from left to right. Okay. So first is potassium. Then what I have to consider? I have to consider the number of the ligands. It is a 6, so hexa. Cyanide is a negatively charged ligand, so its name will end with O. So cyanido. Cyano is also allowed. And now the central metal atom. Now since central metal atom is attached to negatively charged ligand, its name will end with ATE, ferrate. And then we'll calculate the oxidation state of iron. In this complex, iron is in 2 oxidation state, so we will write it in Roman number. Now before we move on to the next example, just look at one thing here. I have given the space between counter ion and the complex ion. But complex ion name I have written without giving a space. The name should be written at one go. Don't give the space between the name of the ligand and the name of the central metal atom. Okay, let's move on to the second example. The first rule, move from left to right. So it is potassium. Then comes the number of the ligand, 4. Therefore tetra. OH, so it is a negatively charged ligand. So hydroxo. Central metal atom zinc, which is attached to a coordinately bonded to a negatively charged ligand, and therefore the name changes to zincate. And lastly, its oxidation state 2. Let us try to solve one complex example. Okay, so here is your example. The first rule, we move from left to right. So we'll name the complex ion first. In complex ion, we have 2 types of ligands. So we have to arrange them alphabetically. So this will be the first amine. 5, so pentaamine. And therefore the name will be pentaamine. This is bromine, negatively charged ligand. Bromido. You can write bromo also. Then the central metal atom, cobalt. Now here we'll not write cobaltate as the complex ion is a positively charged one. Whenever the complex ion is a positively charged one, you will not change the name of central metal atom. The oxidation state is 3, chloride. When we are considering the counter ion, in all these 3 examples, just see, I have not considered the number. Counter ion, its name will be written as it is. Next example, K2HgI4. Now the rules must be very clear to you. So directly I will write the answer. Potassium, tetra, iodomercurate. Okay, there should be no space between complex ion. Its oxidation state is 2. Now this example, I will mark it as important one because this is a reagent called as Nessler reagent. So many times this question is asked you in your Viva. What is the formula of Nessler reagent? Okay, so we'll move to the next example. COCl2 En2Cl. Now you have to be very careful in this, as ethane 1,2-diamine, the ligand has name in itself. Okay, so we'll arrange alphabetically. Dichlorido. Now since it has name in itself, therefore we'll write it as bis. Ethane 1,2-diamine, cobalt. Oxidation state of cobalt is 3-chloride. I hope the examples are clear to you. In the next example, I have taken the example of or a case of ambidentate ligand. SCN is ambidentate ligand. Okay, so we'll name it left to right or the positive part first, and therefore mercury tetra. Thiocyanato, as it is a negatively charged ligand. Cobaltate. We'll calculate oxidation state of cobalt. It is a 3. So this will be the name of the given compound. I hope the rules are clear to you. So IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compound is very simple. Simply you have to remember the rules. What are the rules? Always label positive part first, or you can remember the another trick also. We'll move from left to right. Then number of ligand. Number of ligand, be careful. If it is a already named ligand, then use bis, tris, tetra case. Name of the ligand, arrange it alphabetically. Be careful when it is ambident ligand. Consider the atom through which ligand is coordinately bonded to central metal atom. Arrange them alphabetically irrespective of the charge, irrespective of the number. Then the name of central metal atom. The name of central metal atom depends on the ligand to which it is attached. If the ligand is negatively charged, then only you will change the name of the central metal atom to like ATE. In case there is a positively charged complex ion, in case there is a positively charged ligand, in case there is a neutral ligand, the name of central metal atom will not change. And lastly, oxidation state in Roman. Now before we wind up today's session, I want to cover one more example which is a little bit different one. In all the examples whatever we have studied, there was no charge on complex ion. So now I have taken one example where there is a charge on the complex ion. So how we are going to label it? No counter ion in this. So straightway we will start with the numbering of ligand. It will be hexa. H2 is labeled as aqua. So therefore it will be hexa, aqua, titanium. As H2 is a neutral ligand, the name of central metal atom do not changes. Titanium, oxidation state 3, and since there is a charge on the complex ion, we will write it as ion. Okay, so this was a little bit different example. Now using all these rules, you will try to solve some examples on your own. So today's assignment for you people. This is how the question is asked in your board exam as well as in JEE. Straightforward question. In both cases, they give you either the formula and you are supposed to write the name, or the name is given, you are supposed to write the formula, or sometimes you have to calculate the oxidation state, so on. So it's a direct question. Remember the rules and IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compound becomes very easy. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.